Duncan, you need to turn your microphone on.
Okay, all right, we'll call the meeting to order at 9:30 and the adoption of the agenda is first business recommendation that West Elgin Council hereby adopts the agenda as presented. Can I have a mover and seconder, please?
Just make one addition.
What?
Is this the regular agenda we're talking?
Yes.
I just noticed that there's an item missing. It may not be needed, but the counselor announcements, notice of motion
yeah, I
section
noticed
is
that.
missing, and just, we could put that in the usual spot, which would be
Before
before
counts.
counts. Yeah,
Sorry, I noticed that this morning.
okay.
10:01, is that not the same thing? Council reports from committees?
No.
You know, the announcements, notice of motions and something else, matters of urgency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll motion that.
We have an amended version and that's moved by Tellier and seconded by Rowe. All in favor? And that is carried. Next item up is closed session. Recommended the council of the municipality of West Elgin hereby proceeds into a closed session at 9:31 under section 239(2) and B of the Municipal Act ROS 2001. Consideration will be given to matters pertaining to identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board employee. Mover and seconder for that. Moved by Rowe, seconded by Leatham. All in favor? That is carried. All right, we're in closed session. We're not live anymore. Okay,
Just letting everyone know we're getting ready to get started.
where's Tommy at? Oh, he's in the office at the rec center. Didn't understand his background there. Morning, Thomas. Underneath John Michael.
Can you hear me?
Tom, you're on mute. You have to turn mute off.
Trying to.
We can relive.
Is that better?
That's better. Morning, John Michael.
Morning. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Great.
Okay, well, first item that we have to accomplish here is our report from closed session, Madam Clerk.
So at 10:15, we're reporting out from closed session that staff direction was provided and that council provides authorization to reverse penalty and interest charged on unpaid taxes on roll number 34340000500044000004 amounting to $789.90.
Okay, mover and seconder for that, moved by Leatham, seconded by Rowe, all in favor? That's carried. That's the only item that requires action, okay. Certainly a reminder to disclose any pecuniary interest moving forward here. First item number 6 to a meeting to consider engineers report under Drainage Act. John Michael, I guess it's the pool outlet drain.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This is the meeting to consider the pool outlet drain. To give you a brief overview of it. Fleur and Agri, there's a portion of the drain that cuts through the middle of their farm and makes it difficult to work. So they've requested that the open ditch be relocated more to the west and the north, just to allow their property to be better worked, greater workability, easier to work. So that's what we're proposing to do. It's about 300 meters of open ditch that needs to be relocated. The costs are approximately $50,000. They're all borne by the gentleman or the corporation requesting the work. And that's about
Okay,
it.
pretty straightforward.
Yes. The only thing that's not straightforward is I don't know if it's pool with an E or pool that's without an E. The old report shows and does not show an E, but the family that's lived in that area for a long time does have an E. So we went with the past report.
Any questions? As it is a public meeting, do we have any members of the public here? I don't believe so. So that public comments are nil. Any comments from council? Any questions? Is one of these infamous moving the drain which not an uncommon thing. Seeing no questions from comments, you have something, Richard?
No.
Okay. So we have a provisional bylaw recommendation that West Algon Council hereby receives the engineer's report on the pool outlet drain as prepared by J.M. Street, professional engineer, and that West Algon Council authorize staff to initiate the tender process if required for the improvement of the pool outlet drain to be considered by council following the quarter revision, and that West Algon Council consider the provisional bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the agenda as the first and second reading. Do we have a mover and seconder for that? Moved by Leatham, seconded by Cammert. All in favor? That is carried. Well, you know, this Zoom thing, I think we'll probably continue on. It's a lot more productive of your time doing it this way than driving all the way to West Algon.
Yeah, it's very easy, especially when there's no appeals. It might be a little more difficult if it gets a little heated, but yeah, no, it's a great format and the meetings are very simple and, you know, straightforward. I think it works really well.
Well, I think it's a perfect opportunity. If it gets a little heated, you just push the off button and you're gone.
Oops, I've been cut
Oh, no, I'd be going for that all the time. Anything that you want to add to that, Tom?
Nope, everything sounds really good.
Good. All righty. Well, with that, thank you, gentlemen, and we'll continue on with our meeting.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay, being that you
Yeah, I was gonna say, sir, do you want to maybe jump to my report on the Hepburn, Lalonde and Shenpiker drains? Because I don't believe Jackie's on yet anyway, so if you want to do that, and then Tom can, oh, Jackie is, but Tom can give an update on what we're doing with that.
where is this one?
So 9.2, yeah.
Oh, under municipal drains. Yes, we have more. Okay,
So this one is basically, we are involved in, there's a few members from our municipality involved in some drains with Chatham Kent, and we need to point someone to the court of revision. I don't know if Tom wants to add any more to that, or.
No, that's, the request was initiated from landowners in Chatham Kent. However, the drain does come into affect a few property owners in West Elgin.
okay. So we need to appoint a member for the court of revision from West Algon.
Correct.
Okay, when is this meeting being held?
It's held by Zoom on November 16th at 6 p.m.
Okay. I can, what day?
It's Tuesday, November 16th. You can do it,
I'll do it. Oh, Tuesday, 16th. Is that county council day?
but it's at 6 p.m.
Okay. Well, we
But
could
it
get,
might be
we
county
should get in a
council.
fight. Could get in a fight at county council. It could be heard. Okay.
Do you want me to,
No, I'll
then
do
if
it.
you can't do it, I was gonna say, we don't have to appoint a council member. You can appoint Tom if you wish.
Oh, can we?
Most of Chatham Kent is not council members.
Oh,
They're all appointed to a drainage board.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah.
drainage board.
would it be more beneficial, Tom, being that I don't know anything, that you would sit on that court of revision?
I don't know if that would be a conflict for me because I've been dealing with the people and they tend to complain to me about what they're assessed. And then if I have to sit on the court of revision, I feel
Okay.
that may be a little bit of a conflict.
I can
Since I've been
understand that.
directly involved with the site meetings, et cetera.
Yeah.
You agree, John Michael?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
To give you some history, we haven't had any appeals at the consideration. We had it last month. Generally Chatham Kent does the quarter revisions first and then the consideration. So it would be at about 6 p.m. They start pretty on time, and they, you know, if there's no appeals, they don't really get into talking about the drain. They just pass the, you know, they pass the bylaw and they go from there.
Okay. All right, well, that's good. I'll continue on and look at that at some point. And Tom, maybe you and I can have a discussion to kind of give me a little background.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Do you want me to read the recommendation, sir?
sure, go ahead.
That West Elgin Council hereby receives a report from Jane.
Oh,
We lost part of the meeting. Hold on 1 second. You guys are all still on because I'm hosting, so hold on.
assessment to West Elgin for that grade is very minimal anyways.
I can see you, Jenna.
Yeah, no, you guys all went away.
There you are.
You went away on our screen, sorry. Sorry, that West Elgin Council hereby receives a report from Jane Nethercott Clerk, reappoint one member to Court of Revision for Hepburn, Lalonde, and Shunpiker municipal drains. And whereas the municipality of West Elgin has an interest in the Hepburn, Lalonde, and municipal drains within the municipality of Chatham, Kent, and whereas the Court of Revision has been scheduled by the municipality of Chatham, Kent on Tuesday, November 16th at 2021, be it resolved that West Elgin Council hereby appoints Mayor McPhail to the Court of Revision for the Hepburn, Lawn, and Shunpiker municipal drains. Okay, if you want to go back.
Mr. Mayor, can you turn your mic back on, please?
Okay,
So now we're at adoption of the minutes.
adoption of the minutes.
So thanks, Tom and John Michael.
Yep.
Thank
You
you.
don't want to be on.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye. All right,
you.
we go down to adoption of the minutes. So we have a recommendation that the minutes of the council meeting held on September 23rd, 2021, and committee of the whole meeting on October 5th, 2021 be adopted as circulated and printed. Mover and seconder. Moved by Rowe and seconded by Tellier. All in favor? That is carried. Any business arising from those minutes? Yes, Bunny?
I just want to thank Councillor Tellier for stepping in for me for the Thames Talbot Land Trust. I was sick that day and I appreciate that.
Good crowd or weather was?
It was about 50 people, I hear. It was a rotten day. The tenting all collapsed with rain, but anyway, they had volunteers there and like I say, he probably got wet anyway, did you?
Yeah, I think I'm still scraping mud off my shoes. My husband had to hold me up in the chair as I sunk during the speeches. So it was good though. There's lovely people from Ducks Unlimited there and such. So it was good.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, I'm sorry, I was long ways away. All right, staff reports, building, Jackie, are you around? There you are.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we've certainly you've sent out your building report for previous month. Anything you want to add to it?
Oh, no, we're still motoring along for October as well, so it doesn't seem to be any slowdown in sight at the moment, so.
Okay, any questions on Jackie's report?
Just one quick one. I noticed there was a couple of transfers from previous years. Does that happen very often? And I'm assuming that they got an application a couple of years ago and then it lapsed and then they reapply. Is that what happens?
Yes, so their permits had expired and so they applied to reinstate their existing permit. So in some cases, there may be some changes that are required because they're now going to be under a new code as opposed to the code when they applied for the permit. But it depends on how far along they've gotten as well in the construction process.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I don't see any more questions. With that, we have a recommendation that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from our CBO, the building permit report for September 2021 for information purposes. Mover and seconder. By Rowe and seconded by Leatham. All in favor? That is carried. We've done the municipal drains. Okay, we're going to move on to operations and community service. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Council.
All right, let's talk about the roof here.
Yep, so the report there is for council's information. The roof, after the last couple of heavy rains that we received notice from the staff at the employment center there that they were having water issues on the south side. So we investigated, found that the shingles, especially on the south side of the roof, are in quite poor condition there in a few spots. And upon looking at the rest of the roof, it was noted that they're getting to be in pretty tough shape all over. So we went out, we got pricing on replacing that, and you'll see the 4 prices listed in the report there. The lowest price came in, the contractor didn't have all the necessary paperwork for doing municipal work. So that left us to go to the second lowest, which is DR Roofing, and they were actually the best timing as well. So they're able to get in right away. They've adjusted their schedule and they will be starting on Monday, the 18th, weather permitting.
Well, I think it's critical that we get on this sooner than later because our window of weather is starting to close on us. So I think it's good business to get this fixed because the leak isn't going to go away, and then we'll be into mold, and then we'll be into hundreds of thousands of dollars fixing place up. So Bonnie?
Thanks for getting on top of this so quickly and having it looked after. I just wondered, one, how old the roof was here. When was the last time it was reshingled? And the second part is whether there is any kind of a process of examining buildings and facilities for preventative work. And maybe that's part of asset management that will come forward. I don't know.
Yeah, so to answer your first question, Councillor Rowe, those would be the original shingles from when the complex was built. So this will be the first replacement of this roof. And the second question there, as far as inspection, typically the superintendents or the managers responsible for the different buildings, like the recreation supervisor would look at roofs on the buildings, the different facilities they run. The complex, I think, because there's no set person kind of responsible for that, maybe slipped through the cracks. We should have caught that a little bit sooner. But anyways, moving forward as part of asset management, obviously that is going to get looked at a regular basis.
So how old is the building?
Maybe Mayor McPhail, when was the fire?
2006. I just was looking at the plaque a few
I knew
minutes
there'd be a
ago.
plaque here somewhere.
It's 2006 and it reopened in January of 2007.
Yeah, so they're approximately 15 years old, we'll say then, those shingles. So all of the contractors that we talked to all gave us the same opinion that that the best bet is to they didn't feel that it hasn't gotten to the point where there's going to be damage underneath the shingles. And so they're going to remove the old shingles. They're going to put ice guard all around the bottom, new venting, new caps, all new aluminum. And then they'll DR Roofing is actually going to sheet the roof or cover the roof with a with a membrane, like a water shield membrane. That is what we used under the roof here at the municipal office, and then new shingles on top of that. So, and they are a guaranteed installer for GAF shingles, so they can offer some warranty to us as well on that.
I think over the years, there's been some issues with the water leaking in this building. I think in the library, that's probably many years ago. So again, I echo what Bonnie says. Good that we're on this and before any damage is done. Okay, with that, we do have a recommendation. West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager Operation and Community Services, RE West Elgin Complex Roof Replacement for information purposes. Mover and seconder, please. Rowe and Tellier, all in favor? And that is carried. Next item, disability warning signage.
Yep. So through you, Mr. Mayor, we received at Public Works, we received a request for for signage in Rodney on one of our municipal streets for a deaf person. And so rather than obviously something like this, we want to look at closely, and rather than continually bringing these types of requests, having to look at them on individual basis, we felt that it would be good to have a policy for this. So I contacted other member municipalities. I contacted Elgin County, and currently right now they do not have a policy for this on their roads, but they were aware of the one in Malahide, which is how I found out about Malahide's policy. and they felt that it was a good one. So I contacted Malahide and talked to them. It's been working well there. Really, the policy it deals with how they go about it, gives a standardized process for making the request. And then it also sets out the fact that the municipality will follow up with the individuals each year. And that's so that we don't have signage out there that's misleading if the person has moved away, or if they've grown up and left home, or for whatever reason those signs aren't needed anymore. Then it gives us a process to, yes, check in with them yearly and take those signs down if they're not warranted anymore, so that we don't have misleading signage. So I wanted to get this. So this is basically Malahide's. This is the same policy that they use in Malahide Township. That's working well for them. And I wanted to get this to you so that you could have a look at it. And then that way, if the council does approve, I can reach back out to the individual that made the request for the signage in Rodney and start that process.
Okay, any questions for Lee? I think it makes perfect sense. Yeah, good thing to get on with. Bonnie.
Am I correct in reading that this is just for municipal roads? So county roads aren't included in this policy?
They'd have to have their own policy.
That is correct. That request would be made to the county engineer for a county road.
And as a rule, they don't have a policy. So in your experience, it just gets moved forward quickly, or what?
As far as I know, we don't get a lot of these requests, and I don't believe the county gets a lot of these requests either, which is why they may not have a policy at this time on it. But I can think of one location on Pioneer Line, just as you're leaving West Lorne heading west towards Rodney, that there are deaf child signage, deaf person signage there. That's the only one in West Elgin on a county road that I can think of that's currently in place. So they kind of, basically the county kind of goes by this same set of rules. They would have to make a request to them. They would look at it. They have a listing of where all these locations through the county are. They just don't have a formal policy on it.
Just thinking in terms of the follow-up, like there wouldn't be the follow-up that we would maybe provide for our roads. So we might need to do that ourselves in a sort of an unofficial way.
Just as an interjection, I had our meeting yesterday with the accessibility coordinator for the county, going through, we're preparing a multi-year accessibility plan as required. And I brought this to her and she really liked it and said, if 2 of the lower tiers are using it, she's meeting today with the county engineer to go over some other things. And she's going to bring forward that they probably should adopt the same policy. So just a heads up, that came out about 2 o'clock yesterday, so. Fresh off the press.
And Brian is very open to these new ideas and
And just as a follow-up, not to be too anal, but there are several spelling errors in that application and policy.
okay, are we all satisfied with that? I will read the recommendation of West Ogden Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosling, Manager, Operation and Community Services, and that West Ogden Council adopts a policy regarding requests for disability warning signs made by residents of West Ogden. Mover and seconder. Moved by Tellier. Seconded by Leatham. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, next item up, Lee, is your monthly operational highlights. Everybody's had a chance to read it. Anything that you need to add on top of it? And then we'll open it up to questions.
No, I don't think so, Mr. Mayor. I think if there's any questions, I think most of the stuff there is fairly straightforward. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay, any questions for Lee on his monthly report? Bonnie.
I had 2 or 3 questions with regard to capital projects, and I didn't know whether you would be reporting on the status of capital projects at some point in the next little while. Or do you want me to address them now or?
The plan is to report third quarter financials at the meeting in November. Unfortunately, we can't get it done any sooner, but that's the plan. But if
And then we'll discuss them then.
either now or
So I'll leave them until then. I noticed a stack of blocks down at the Port Glasgow parking lot there. Is that for the breakwater or?
The stack of blocks at the marina were moved in there. Those were sourced by, or the Port Glasgow Yacht Club had found those and we're looking for a place to put them. And that was right now, that was the best place that we could think of, was along that far edge so that they're out of the way. So at this time, we're just waiting to determine the best route of action for those breakwater projects, or for that breakwater project. But it was one of those things that was kind of too good of a deal to pass up. Those blocks can be used in a variety of different locations down there. So they were able to source them just basically for the cost of transportation. So that's why we have them just staged there for right now.
So sounds good. Those are going to be very helpful. I think they're huge. The other question that I had was, I've noticed some, or one that stands out, an area where someone has dumped large things along the side of the road. Looks like car seats or something. At any rate, I don't know whether the road department does any kind of pickup of those large items that get tossed.
Can you provide a location, Councillor Rowe?
Yeah, it was the south end of Missley, just before Gray.
Just recently?
I hadn't noticed it there, but I haven't been down the road in a week or two, but it looks pretty recent. Looks like a engine of something and old car seats and stuff they probably would have had to pay if they took them to the landfill, I would expect.
Okay, I believe that road is due for inspection this week, and I know that they're out today and tomorrow. So for our routine patrols, so that type of thing would get caught during that, and then we would schedule to have a truck in the backhoe go out and clean it up.
That's great. Thank you.
Never ending curse. Okay, any other questions for me? All right, I have a recommendation that West Algon Council hereby receives the report from Lee Gosnell, Manager, Operation and Community Services for information purposes. Mover and seconder. Rowe and Cameron, all in favor? That is carried. Jana, you're up.
So these policies are updates that were suggested to us as part of our desk audit for accessibility compliance. They were basically written by the county and handed to us, so which is very nice because we don't have a lot of time, and they have a dedicated accessibility person. So they are basically what everybody else in the county uses. We all basically use the same policies. So I don't know if you have any questions.
Okay. Seeing no questions, recommendation West Algon Council hereby receives the report from Janet Ellicott, Clerk, Accessibility Policy Updates, and West Algon Council consider approving the updated accessibility policy HR 8.2 accessibility policy, HR 8.3 emergency response, HR 8.4 accommodation at workplace, HR 8.5 return to work, and HR 8.6 temporary service destruction in bylaw portion of the agenda. We'll mover and seconder for that recommendation. Moved by Rowe and seconded by Leatham. All in favor? And that is carried. Next item up.
The election. So as you can see from the report, we got back. I got back surveys. It wasn't overwhelming, but majority of people were in favor of going online and telephone with the option of in-person polling stations / voter help centers And in our county clerk's meeting, we did talk about it, that Elmer has done this the last election and found really good success with it. And Malahide will most likely be moving forward with this as well. So I'm just not, my recommendation is we move forward with telephone and internet voting with in-person polling stations and or voting help centers. So the idea will be, like, I will have on election day, there will be a person here to assist people who don't know how to vote, one in Rodney. There will also be advanced polls that way. And it will be a staff member. So it's not as if someone who doesn't have an internet or doesn't know what they're doing can't come. They'll use a touch screen. It's just everything is tabulated electronically instead of physically having a piece of paper. So we'll have to do some education, but it's up to council what you want to do.
Okay, any comments from council? Press.
So when we've had the option to do online or telephone before, personally, I absolutely loved it. I think it's a great idea. I'm excited that it's still going to be less cost,
Yes.
as it says in the report. So that's exciting as well. So I just would, yeah, I'd support this motion to go forward to this report. I just think it's a great idea, and to have, I know we had problems with staffing at the elections in the past and the one we just had. So I think this would eliminate that as well, maybe. So I would support this.
Any other comments? Okay. Oh, yes, Angela.
So just a quick question, in-person voting with the current regulations, they would have to be vaccinated to come into a polling station. Is that correct?
No,
No.
you cannot restrict access in a polling station. That's illegal.
Okay, nope, that's just something I popped into my head about, because that would just cause more issues. So, nope, I'm fine with it.
Okay. This is a lot of reading. Why don't you read this one?
That West Algon Council hereby receives the report from Jane Ethercott Clerk, re 2022 municipal and school board election voting method, and that West Algon Council directs staff to bring forward a bylaw at the next regular council meeting to approve the use of alternate voting methods for the 2022 municipal school board election, and that West Algon Council adopt the staff recommendation that the 2022 municipal and school board election voting methods be by telephone and internet voting with in-person polling stations or voting help centers.
Okay. Moved by Talier and seconded by Leatham. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, next item up, the OPP contract renewal for Algon Group. I guess it's not too complicated.
No, if we want to have police, we
Yeah.
need to
We need to do
extend this.
Yes.
I didn't see a pricing structure for 2022. When does that arrive?
It won't arrive until
2020.
the end of 20, yeah. Well, we might get it in December, or have we got it yet?
But we have projected numbers. I will supply council with those at the next council meeting.
And through the chair, my other question, with the new Community Safety and Policing Act, what is the process expected to be for police?
I don't believe it's worked out fully yet. The Algon Group Police Services Board, they haven't explained it to us. I'm thinking they're going to be coming back to us at another meeting. This was a stopgap measure. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a contract, because it sounds like they're still trying to figure it all out.
Fairly complex. I mean, it's a joint effort between the city of St. Thomas, the Elgin County, and town of Aylmer. Anybody's got a full-time police force.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I know that this new policing act has a whole set of new rules, so and it's going to apply across the province, so didn't know what it might entail.
On all these announcements, that there should be a disclaimer down at the bottom. Just stay tuned for more information.
Yeah.
I did a full day course on it, and it's still, there's still so much to figure out. So
Okay, I'll just a little, I'll read it. West Algon Council hereby receives a report from Jane Endicott Clerk regarding OPP contract renewal for Algon Group, and that West Algon Council hereby considers the approval of the Algon Group amending agreement with the OPP in the bylaw portion of the agenda. Mover and seconder. Moved by Rowe and seconded by Cameron. All in favor? That is carried.
So the next one is just kind of an update. There was a pretty big set of omnibus legislation supporting the Business or People in Business Act, which amended a whole bunch of different pieces of legislation. I just thought you guys might be interested in some of it, just having a quick update on what it is and where some more information is. It's all out for commenting periods, but I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of some of the changes that could be coming down. If anyone has any questions.
Bunny?
Just curious as to whether there is an intent for us to open our wading pool next year. I know it's been a couple of years. Is it going to be possible?
That is our hope as of right now. Obviously, a lot of things can change between now and then, but if things continue to get better, I don't see a reason why that can't happen for the 2022 season.
Thank you.
And being able to, if we can lower our water too, it might even make it a little easier if we don't have to. But again, 15 centimeters is not a lot of water. So. Yeah.
Okay, that a recommendation of West Ogden Council hereby receives the report from Jane Alec Clerk supporting RE supporting People and Business Act for information purposes. Mover and seconder. Moved by Latham and seconded by Cameron. All in favor? Carried. Finance and Administration.
So just the monthly update. Magda was kind of busy, so I will answer it. I know she didn't get to do a lot. We had a really busy September between water discoloration and moving. Staff were pretty busy, but yeah, no, hopefully, I don't know if you have any questions. That's pretty much where we're at.
Any specific questions? Yes, Bonnie.
Just a comment to start with. I just wanted to thank and congratulate the staff and our attending guests for the Truth and Reconciliation Recognition event. I thought it was a very meaningful program and ill, but I was able to watch it online and that went well.
Once you got the volume fixed.
But it was a very, very nice service.
We actually got a lot of really good feedback from Southwold split up their staff and had them go both. And we got some really good feedback. They were very, very impressed, the staff and their council that attended both. So it was a lot of work. And I will say that if it wasn't for the fact we partnered with Dutton Dunwich, I don't think it would have been as good as it was because she had more time to dedicate. And the fact that the mayor spent some time visiting some local band councils, which helped us a lot too. So in the end, it did turn out a really good day, and especially because nobody knew what to expect for the first one. We got a lot of guidance through the City of London's Indigenous Affairs Office, as well as our, the council in Muncie and in Moravian Town. So yeah, it was good. So thank you everyone who got to come out for it too.
And I think there's some follow-up that's going to come with that. Now, my understanding is we've been working towards a land claim statement.
That's what I was wanting to know.
And what I have been told, that to have a land claim that is legitimate and recognized, what our initial discussions with Moravian Town was, that they would like to have a joint meeting with their band council and our council to sit down and discuss that and come up with a finished project. So when that is going to take place, I don't know. I anticipate going back over and seeing them and see if there's any update on when they think that might be. But I know it caused a little bit of concern at the Truth and Reconciliation, because the day before I had discussed it with the administration at Moravian Town, and they preferred that we not read a land claim at the Truth and Reconciliation because we had not talked about it. So I had discussions with Chief Stonefish when she arrived at the event, and I said, now here's the situation we've got. We have one chief wants it, one chief that's wanting to hold back. What are your thoughts here? We have 2 examples of what we can read. And she says, well, go ahead and read this one here. That'll be fine for now. So we were able to do that. But I do look forward to sitting down with the group over there. I found it very interesting. The administrator told me that this is the first time that she can remember since she's been there or in the past that there has ever been one of their neighbors has reached out and sat down at their table and wanted to just talk about issues of common interest. So I think that will be an experience for all of us to be able to do that. So more to come on that as we work through it, but don't expect maybe something to happen right away. It'll probably take some time.
I had one other question with regard to the emergency tabletop exercise. Is council involved in any of that?
The mayor and deputy mayor are, because they sit on the emergency control group, but that's it.
Press.
Through the chair. So this is a little bit towards Lee and the clerk and the CAO. So I'm wondering when you're having your weekly, I think it was weekly in here, discussions with Brian Lima in regards to the road work that's going on in Ward 1, if they're projecting they're going to fix the humps where the new road meets the old road before winter time. Have they discussed anything like that?
You're talking about the transition, there'd be 4 transitions, 2 on Queen Street and 2 on Furnival.
Correct.
So those will stay for the winter time because they're not putting the final coat of asphalt on this year. That'll be done in the spring. So if that's typically the way that they would leave them for over the winter. But if you feel that there is an issue with that, that can go back to the county engineer for consideration. That there would still be a transition there regardless of what, we could possibly lessen that somehow, but there's still going to be a fairly quick transition there because of the depth of asphalt that's not going to be placed this year.
So it's mostly the one that's at Queen and Furnival on the east side. It's still a little bit of just that one little, I don't know how big it is, but section is dirt. So people have been going down Rideout, up Center or Maple or Albert, whatever, and going to Furnival that way because they've been avoiding it. They don't really, it kind of bottoms out your car a little bit if you have a smaller sedan type vehicle. So those are that's the one mainly I've been having comments about, wondering if it's going to be looked at before the winter. So I'm going to guess that when they do the west side of Queen, that they're going to asphalt there. That's what I've been telling people. It just was an educated guess if that's what they would do. Makes sense.
Yes. Well,
So
that was a great guess because that's exactly what happened. So yeah, Coco is fine grading today and tomorrow, weather pending. It doesn't sound like tomorrow is going to be the greatest for that. But the plan is to put down the asphalt will go down early next week on all of Queen Street, and that little piece between that you're talking about east of the intersection on Queen, they're actually going to saw cut the asphalt back a little bit farther east so that it's a nice transition, and then that's going to be done at the same time. So everything will have asphalt on it by the end of next week, hopefully weather pending.
okay, great. And then my second question was the fish cleaning station. When is that all winterized?
That hasn't been winterized as of yet, but we've noticed that there hasn't been much usage there in the last couple of weeks. So we're planning on winterizing other facilities, the lawn bowling, things like that. So we'll probably just organize to do them all at the same time. So I would think probably before the end of October.
And I guess the question that's on everybody's lips, when are the streetlights going to go up?
Your guess is as good as mine. I think right at this point, we keep, we keep being told in a few weeks, and a few weeks go by, and then we're told in a few weeks, and a few weeks go by. The last that we heard from the subcontractor, the electrical contractor, was that they were supposed to be delivered to them hopefully this week, and that they would be coming out to place them next week. But this has been put off. You know, we've been getting the same message since mid-July, when they were originally supposed to be finished. So, you know, hopefully it's the company that is building them. It's not the electrical contractor that's holding things up. They've already promised that, you know, the minute they land in their shop, that they're going to be out to get them installed. So it's the company that produces the light poles. This is a special kind of one-off build for them to facilitate what had to be done here. So we're just waiting on them at this point. We're kind of at their mercy, but the county has been following up on a regular basis with that, and we've discussed it at all of our regular meetings that we have uptown. And so hopefully, you know, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll see them in, and then that way we want to get them in obviously as soon as possible, so that the concrete can be put in around the bases once they're installed before the weather turns.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we do have a recommend. Are you done, Jana? Okay,
Unless anyone else has questions, then we're done.
okay, with that, the West Ogden Council hereby receives the report from Jana Nethercott, clerk, and Magda, CAO, treasurer, administrative monthly report for September 2021 for information purposes. Mover and seconder for that. Moved by Bonnie, seconded by Cameron. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is the Magna CAO Treasurer's COVID-19 vaccination verification policy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In front of you, there is draft policy, COVID-19 vaccination verification policy. So council is aware, last week, staff was asked to voluntarily disclose their vaccination status. We have provided them with 2 separate links to basically to the survey. So one link was dedicated to full-time and part-time staff, and the other link was dedicated for all fire department. The response rate was great, although I'm not sure, I can't verify the accuracy of the voluntary survey, as no name had to be disclosed. So the response rate for the fire department was 92%. And for full-time and part-time employees was 100%. So pretty much every single full-time and part-time employee responded. As of end of the survey, we have 23 employees fully vaccinated of part-time and full-time employees. And 30 out of 38 firefighters are fully vaccinated. It is important that we protect our employees here at the workplace. And it's important that we have a policy in place as it is recommended by public health and the province as well. So my recommendation to council is to adopt this policy that will take effect as of November 1st. There's also, I would like to point your attention to the revision that was made at the very last minute. And it is, it was under COVID-19 screening. Basically, we have revised this policy to separate employees, members of councils and committees, separate from contractors and consultants that come to the municipality. And the reason for it is because we are unable to keep track of contractors' vaccination status. So basically, the idea is to provide the contractor a letter from the municipality asking them basically to provide us that reassurance that the employees that are being sent to work in our facilities are fully vaccinated. So that disclosure will be coming from the contractor's HR department or the business owner. Does anybody have any questions?
Bonnie?
Just curious with regard to the contractor section, does that apply to contractors that do not enter a building? So for example, drainage or roadworks?
No, it only applies to the contractors that work inside
Inside a building.
the
Okay.
building
Thank you.
or facility.
Further questions? I think it's just simply, this is the way of the future, and it seems to be policies are being brought in every municipality, every jurisdiction is going this way. And I think that for the protection of all of our employees, that we're bound under health and safety to make sure we have a safe work environment. So is there any, seeing that we have, three that are not, I lost that. How many was it? Three or something that? Yeah, three that were not. Is there any concern from senior staff as to, is this something that's going to impact our operations, or can we move forward?
From municipal staff perspective, there is two employees that are not vaccinated based on the survey. Possibly three. I mean, we're talking 3 people against remaining 23. I think majority of our employees are vaccinated. Yes, it will impact our operations somehow. But I guess, it's time to provide these employees with educational material. We've never had discussion with them. We don't even know who they are. So once the policy is in place, we'll be able to request attestation from documentation from our employees, and then we'll probably try to work with them and come up with a plan for the next few months. At this point, we don't know who these people are and what their views are, but
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Angela?
Through the chair, I realize this is difficult, but I agree with the mayor that this is necessary. I know, Magda, I think we kind of briefly talked about it before. We are under 100 employees with the testing kits. Is that a possibility to offer some assistance in the meantime while these people consider if they're going to vaccinate or not vaccinate?
Absolutely. If the tests are available to businesses, to us for free, we are willing to make arrangements and bring them here on site and have them available for our employees. But at this point, I can't guarantee anything. We'll try our best to support the ones that are against, I shouldn't say against, but reluctant to vaccination.
So those kits were just based on availability.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
We have found at the county too, that there has been some increased compliance, and the rationale was that individuals just, well, I wasn't going to do it unless I absolutely had to. And I think that that's maybe changed their ultimate decision on it. So yeah, it's just unfortunate, but that's the way that society is moving, and I guess we have to move on with it. I know that everybody has their rights. I agree with that, but they also have obligations. And I think this is an obligation that society is putting on them. So, all right, any more questions on vaccination policy? Question.
I'll just comment that I do feel that this is council's decision to keep its staff safe. And, you know, if people need encouragement to keep their coworkers safe, then we need to provide that encouragement. And so I do agree with this policy.
Okay, mover and seconder for the vaccination policy. Moved by Rowe, seconded by Tallier. All in favor? That is carried. You didn't hear what Dutton Dunwich did last night? I know that they weren't going to bring one in, but staff come to them, said we want one. So, okay, we're gonna move on to, I didn't actually read that whole recommendation. Is it necessary? Okay. Counselors' reports from committees. Anybody got anything to add to, I know that at some point in time, we'll be able to get our committee system back up and running a little easier. Yes.
I had a question with regard to the Lower Thames. I didn't, should we be expecting a presentation from them as to what non-mandatory services we have to decide whether we're going to pay for or not, since there's now a breakout between mandatory and non-mandatory?
Yeah, the CIO did mention that, and I think he's going to get in touch.
Okay.
Okay. Any other committees? We had our arena board. What are you chuckling about? Huh? Oh, yeah, the one I didn't show up to. I'm going, okay, sure, that's great. Oh, it's this morning? Yeah, sorry about that, Therese. See, I emailed her, texted her back. I says, you don't ask me to do very much, and the first time you do, I screw it up. So we had our arena board meeting. I think Lee certainly jump in here that the security guard at the arena is working out very well for us. I don't think there was any really outstanding issues that were there. I think that was the big thing that I was kind of concerned about, and people seem to be accepting of it. I think the word has got out that these are the rules and this is how you have to proceed forward. And we did not get any interest in our concession booth. I think that's probably got to do with COVID again and the amount of traffic that can come into the arena. So I think our decision yesterday was just to not have the concession booth while we're still dealing through COVID. So anything else on the top of your head, Lee, that?
No, I don't think so, Mr. Mayor. I think everything's been running as smooth as can be expected. And this is minor hockey starts their games this weekend. So this will be the first, this will be the first time that we're having a number of people come to the arena at the same time. There'll be a larger crowd than we've had in the last few weeks. So we are going to have staff on hand Sunday for those two games, just to make sure that everything runs smoothly and assess the situation and see if there's anything that can be done to help if there is anything that needs to be done to kind of move the process along quicker, so we can kind of fine tune that. So we'll see how Sunday goes.
Honey.
Sorry to stand up.
Yep.
So are we going to be allowed a no restrictions in terms of attendees now with the new regulations, that the numbers can be the maximum number for attendees in at the hockey games?
Yes, the regulations have taken place that have expanded the capacity limits now, as long as the facility is a facility that has that double vaccination requirement. So I don't think we, just based on the numbers, even what we were allowed under the 50% capacity rule, I think we were probably still good. I don't know as we would have exceeded that number anyways, but this just solidifies that.
Okay, any other council committee reports? Seeing none, accounts. We have a recommendation that the mayor and treasurer are here. Oh, somebody say something. Oh, okay.
We made that addition. It wasn't
Yep,
on
yep.
there.
All right, we have, well, we'll start out with the statements by members. Anybody have a statement? I'm just doing these from memory.
And so it's
Yeah.
announcements, it's councilor
And
announcements.
council announcements. Yes.
Through the chair, it's not really an announcement, just to recognize, I guess, that Marg's Variety, Marg Toth is retiring today after many years being part of Rodney's Main Street. So want to wish her well. I'm wondering if we could do something, a little certificate or something for her contribution to our community.
There is an open house today that everybody's invited to, so.
Yeah. She didn't want anybody to make her cry. Yeah, what can we, what, you know what I think that we can do? Why don't we get a card? And why don't we get her favorite gift card in the world would be a Tim Hortons card. And tell her to go and drink all the Tim Hortons if she can. She's not gonna have it delivered every day. Yeah, can we do that?
From what I hear, the new owners are going to be a welcome addition to the community, and they are coming from the Toronto area and plan to keep it as a variety store, which is great. So we continue to support it.
Yeah, there'll be a transition period, but Rodney seems to have the ability to get over that. Okay, getting back to statements. Anybody else have any more statements? Anybody have a matter of urgency? Notice of motion? Being none, we'll go on to accounts. Recommendation that the mayor and treasurer are hereby authorized to sign payment voucher number 10 amounting to $1,887,111.25 in settlement of general road, water, and arena accounts. Seconder. Questions? Yes.
A comment, I guess. I'm guessing that a cozy cocoon for $2,000. I'm guessing that a cozy cocoon for $2,000 would be a piece of playground equipment that was vandalized. Am I guessing right?
That's correct. So there was a little bit of money left over from grant and fundraising that
Okay.
Optimist Club has done. And basically we use that money towards the replacement.
Thank you. Sad.
Mhm.
Anything else in the accounts? Okay, mover and seconder. Moved by Leatham, seconded by Rowe. And
There's one more thing, last minute item, and I apologize. We forgot to include that item in our agenda. Oh, so,
you didn't tell me whether we had the money or not.
yes, we did.
Okay,
I forgot.
all right. I didn't know
I'm
where you
sorry.
were going
Yes,
with
we
that.
do have money.
All right, all in favor? Carried. Okay, go for it now. You're
There's
on the
one-
right page.
Thank you. There is one last item that we I forgot to include it in our agenda. It's in regards to our Old Town Hall kitchen cabinets. Lee, would you like to elaborate on this more?
Yeah, I can elaborate, and my apologies, I forgot about this as well. In the old town hall, there are a set of kitchen cabinets that have been in there for quite a few years. We do have the, the heat turned off and everything, turned down there now. So my worry is that, if going forward, they're just gonna be in there and they're gonna be in disrepair by the time anything ever eventually happens, and we likely wouldn't reuse them in there moving forward, even if we decide to work in there. So I was approached by a local community group that has a hall that is looking for a set of cabinets, and so I was going to bring that forward to council to see if there was if they would consider donating them, or if they would like to sell those cabinets. They aren't being used in the town hall, and like I said, with the heat and hydro, being shut off, I think that eventually they're not going to be worth anything anyways if we don't do something with them.
Angela?
I'm willing to motion that we donate the cabinets to the community hall that needs assistance.
Okay. Yeah, it seems silly just to have them waste away to nothing if there's another use for them. So it'll, I guess, if and when something happens at the old town hall, this will keep them out of our landfill site. So, and so it's been moved and it's been seconded. Question, Bonnie?
I just wondered whether we had any, whether that contravened our policy in terms of getting rid of equipment, like we usually do an auction or some sort of thing, don't we?
I don't think you'd get it.
We don't have a disposal of surplus other than lands policy. It's
Okay.
kind of at staff's discretion to come to council and ask what
Okay.
you want.
That's fine, then that answers my question. Thank you.
Kitchen cupboards just bring almost nothing.
Mhm.
So, okay, we have it moved and seconded for that request. All in favor? That is carried.
Good. I will pass that along. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next item, waiver of fees request. Who wants to speak to that?
So this is for that spectacular group that are doing, they've asked to close Jesse Street so they can park the food trucks at the, this is the waiver of fees to use the pavilion. They're basically using the whole park, but they would like the waiver of fees. I did clarify with them, any money they make will be donated towards the West Elgin Legion.
Bonnie?
So moved.
Seconder? Oh, yay. All in favor? And that is carried. West Elgin Business Group.
Yeah, that was the waiver of fees.
Okay.
The upcoming meetings, sir, do you want me to read those to you guys? I mean, I have them, they're on the, sent to you, but we have a lot coming up and I want to make sure everybody was aware, so I'm going to try to keep this going. We have the Tri-County Water Board at 7 on October 26th. Our next council is the 28th. November 4th, we are having 2 meetings. We will have the quarter revision for the drain that we passed today, just because we have to get it in the timing. It will be quick, one person on it. Then we are going to start our review of the fees and charges. And then we will, November is strange because of Remembrance Day. We only have 1 council and it's November the 18th.
Okay.
That was my question. Meet on the 25th.
No, we chose to, when we did we're choosing to have extra councils in December instead of November. Because by December, we will be heavily into the budget, we hope.
Any questions on those meetings? Right. Next item up is correspondence. Ministry of Human Affairs and Housing construction noise. I guess that's just an information Province of Ontario ending capacity limits in selected settings. I guess there's more information coming about that today.
Apparently, well, now they are said this morning, I checked the news when you were enclosed, that they will be announcing it early next week. The exit of stage 3.
Realm of virtual conference.
Does anyone want to attend it? It's going to be virtual again. It's a little rough, I think, sitting at a computer that long. So.
Yeah. All right. To Elgin County Land Division's notice of deferral, that was deferred by Land Division because the applicant should have been the future landowner, so they're putting things back the way that they should be. So that I spoke with Ed, and he's going to carry on with that. The notice of decision that was carried through on the other severance that we approved. Algon OP community engagement notice. That is that the natural heritage component in in Dutton?
Yes.
Okay, I think that you have to respond if you want to be a participant in that.
Yes, they do want you to sign up because proof of vaccination is required to attend in person, or you can also attend virtually, but you also have to sign up for that to get the link that way.
Kingsville, support for eye care in Ontario. For us old people sitting around here, this is a serious thing.
I'd like to support this.
Okay. Seconder for that?
Just a comment, I've had some communication back and forth with our MPP about this, and it sounds as though they are taking the appropriate steps from the government's perspective. They're in mediation. I don't know that we can expect any more than that. Myself, like my first gut feeling was, yes, we should support this, but when I dug a bit further, it's, you know, and that's only one side of the equation too. So I think if mediation is in place, we really aren't in any position to ask for more than that. I mean, what would the next step that we would expect to be, apart from being more serious? But that goes both ways too. So just my thought on that.
New information. What's your thoughts now?
I'd still like to support it. I think eye care is really important. I never went till 2019 ever to an optometrist in my life. I just think it's because of the cost to an adult. So I think it's really important to have that care there and have it there.
Second it? Okay, well, we have a motion moved and second to support.
Councillor Cameron has her hand up.
Yes, I know.
I was gonna second it too, so.
Okay, well, we've got Talia and Lethem for support of this.
So call the vote, I guess.
Any more discussion on it? All in favor of it? That is carried. West Lauren Lawn Bowling request to erect a shade shelter.
Lee, do you want to speak to this? You had a request that you want about this.
Yeah, so the lawn bowlers are requesting they would like to put up a couple of small sheltered or shaded bench areas at the west end of the lawn bowling green out along adjacent to Graham Road. Just because the bowlers at that end of the green have really nowhere to get out of the sun. So I had a brief discussion yesterday with Jeff Carmichael, who is a member of the lawn bowling club there. And we agreed to sit down and take a look at that, or meet on site and take a look at that together. And I don't know, we're still planning on doing the work there with the roof or the veranda this fall, whether that's something that can be incorporated or, you know, whether that be done next year, but we're certainly going to look into that with them.
So that request, do we need to respond anyway formally to that, or just talking to Jeff is a good enough response?
We can send a letter to them if you want, Lee.
Yeah, we could send a letter just saying, and once we meet on site, obviously, if there's something that's going to be done there, we'll bring that back to council before that takes place.
Is it going to be temporary structures there at the west side, or is that going to be permanent?
In the very, very brief conversation that I had with Jeff yesterday after the arena meeting, I think they're just looking for something with a couple benches. Likely it would have I would foresee it as being like a permanent thing with actual posts and a small shaded roof. Not even something similar to what's down at the marina, but maybe not quite that large.
Okay, well, more information to come after you've had a good discussion with Jeff. Request to close Jesse Street.
This is the one I was thinking about before. This is as part of that spectacular event on October 23rd. They want to restrict the access to everyone so they can have the food trucks parked down there on level ground at the end, and then other vendor parking along the side. Obviously, they are aware that there are residents on the street and they will still have to get in and out, and we will have to provide written notice to those residents that access will be restricted, but they would like, my understanding from talking to her and having a quick conversation with Adam, is that's the idea of what they're looking for, just for us to put up some barricades so not everybody and their dog will be down parking there.
Any concerns, Lee?
No concerns from Public Works, Mr. Mayor. I think that's probably the best bet is if there's going to be that amount of activity on Jesse Street. Obviously, as Janice said, we can't restrict the street itself, but the food trucks and the fire, public education can be held kind of at the east end of Jesse Street, and then that area adjacent to the lawn bowling along there can be used for vendor parking. But I think just to keep people that would maybe just drive down there and try and turn around or think that they could park there to go into the event, I think it's probably best that we just close Jesse Street at Graham for the day, and Public Works can look after that.
Angela.
Through the chair, Lee, I know currently there's 3 food trucks and then 1 food trailer that is fairly large. Well, do you think they'll fit all at the end down there, or should we encourage the event organizer to put them more east-west on the road? Or north-south, sorry.
Like stretched out along Jesse Street, you mean?
Yeah, I think their hope is to have them at the circle part at the end, but they're currently up to 4, potentially. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if more are coming, but I know that's what I was told last night.
I think probably from the so it'd be east of the lawn bowling club there where the park entrance is. I think that I think there's enough room from there. We don't want to have them way out towards Graham. I think, the closer they can be to the event, the better. So that's our idea right now, is to try and have them kind of from that park entrance there, partway down Jesse Street, from there down and around the end, and then have that area kind of adjacent to the lawn bowling, just for vendor parking.
Okay.
I think they'll fit there, even with 4 food trucks, like unless they're something that's unusually big. I think that there's enough room for them to all be in that area together.
Okay, what, do we need to do anything specific on this?
I do need a resolution that West Elgin Council hereby either approves or denies the request to close Jesse Street and West Lauren on October 23rd, 2021 for the spectacular event.
Sounds like we have consensus for approval. Do I have a mover and seconder? Moved by Tellier, seconded by Cameron. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, Robert Van Avery. Okay, you want to give us the background on this one?
Yes, so Mr. Mayor and Council, so this request is going back to 2018, where the initial request for 3 property owners was received. At that point, the request went to council and it was approved by council. There have been 3 property owners involved in this petition. All 3 of them signed off on the petition. And we have proceeded with the cost estimate for of a possibility of extending the water line to their properties. So unfortunately, so basically, once the assessment was done by engineering company, as we don't do that kind of study, as we don't have engineers on site. The agreement was that the cost of the study or the assessment will be split among 3 property owners. Out of 3 property owners, 2 of them paid the invoice within 30 days after the receipt of the invoice. 1 property owner did not pay that invoice in full. And basically, at the end of the year, once there is an outstanding receivable, if it's a resident of West Elgin, we transfer the outstanding balance with penalty and interest onto their property taxes. So that balance on the property owner's property taxes has been sitting there for the last 2 years. I have received a few phone calls from this individual. There is some concern of how the project was communicated to residents. But unfortunately, it was administered by the staff who is not here right now. So basically previous administrator and at that time, utilities manager. So I suggest my recommendation would be to defer this issue to the next council meeting, as the key person is not available, was not available to attend council meeting. And at that time, staff will provide council with email communication, bylaws, and the agreement that have been signed 3 years ago. At this point, I feel that if we discuss this issue right now, without having key individuals attending this meeting, council may not make the right decision.
We probably should put it out.
I agree. I think we have to wait for Mike to be here. Are you planning on inviting Genevieve back, or? It's not, eh?
Council's request.
Yeah, I agree that we need to have the full details before we can make a decision on this, so I'd move to defer.
Seconder for deferral. Okay, moved and seconded. Yes. Question. Okay. Been moved and seconded. Bonnie and Richard, all in favor? That is carried. All right, next, do you want a quick break before we go into bylaws, or?
We're almost done. Do you want to
That's
just
what I
keep
mean.
moving?
As long as everybody's good, I don't want any distress.
So do you want me to read the bylaws?
Sure, that'd be quicker.
So it's bylaw 2021-54 accessibility policies. That bylaw 2021-54 being a bylaw to repeal and replace the policies with respect to accessibility. HR 8.2 accessibility, HR 8.3 emergency response, HR 8.4 accommodation in the workplace, HR 8.5 return to work, and HR 8.6 temporary service disruptions be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Mover and seconder for the bylaw, moved by Rose, seconded by Tellier. Any more discussion? All in favor? That is carried.
So that bylaw 2021-55 being a bylaw to provide for the reconstruction of the pool outlet drain in the municipality of West Elgin be read a first and second time and be provisionally adopted.
Mover and seconder. Talia and Latham. Any more discussion on the bylaw? All in favor? And that is carried.
So bylaw 2021-56, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an amending agreement with Her Majesty the Queen in Right of Ontario as represented by the Solicitor General for the provision of police services for the Elgin Group municipalities be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Mover and seconder. Rowe and Cammert, all in favor? That is carried.
So bylaw 2021-57, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on October 14th, 2021, be read a first, second, and third and final time.
Mover and seconder. Moved by Talia, seconded by Cammert, all in favor? Carried.
Want me to keep going?
We got one more, right?
Just the adjournment. We are that council of the municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn at 11:38 a.m. to meet again at 9 a.m. or would you rather continue at 9:30? We're not sure about closed, so. Are you okay? That was my question, 9 or 9:30.
Well, what's your pleasure?
Okay, we'll go with 9 a.m. as long as if we have closed 9 a.m. October 28th, 2021 or at the call of the chair.
Mover and seconder, moved by Rowe, seconded by Talia, all in favor? Carried.
We are done. Just leave it upside down on your desk. Okay.
Thank you, everybody. What's that?
You went quicker than I thought you
Oh, I didn't think we'd be too long. County council, yes. Went